Good morning. Now, I certainly don't mean this as an attack on the other people that are producing survival bow videos. Not in the slightest. I just want to take this from a different viewpoint. Survival bows. You can go and you can see people making them, and in most respects, what they're doing is repeating the knowledge that the master bow makers on YouTube are teaching you as far as splitting and tillering and fine-tuning. Those to me really aren't survival bows unless you're already a bow maker, you know, and you're just watching somebody else doing the same thing you would. Because we've gained the ability to choose materials and split and to tiller and make like a finely crafted bow with a good bend through it. Now, survival bows to me represent a group of weapons that can be made on the fly. If you choose to learn how to make a bow, more power to you. That's great. We need more bow makers out there with the understanding of tillering and properly designing bows so the bend is distributed. But on the flip side, survival bows, you know, you need something right away. And so it's great if we start steering this conversation towards materials that lend themselves to the minimum amount of work, like a 5-minute bow. You know, you're doing things, building your shelter, trying to get the fire going, blah, blah, blah. You need to have something quick, and that's my view of a survival bow. So I got away from saplings, simply because the saplings, during the first, few years of their growth, maybe 10 to 15, they grow fast, and they have thick growth rings, and they're not really being stressed. They're not in the wind yet. They're not big, and so they're not being tested. The lignin isn't developing to develop great compressional or tension strength. They're just like these little beings that are just shooting up there without having a lot of pressure, other than deer eating them. So I've skipped from the saplings, hardwoods, because survival bows, they're going to be used green, and the hardwoods really don't react to pressure when they're green. So I went to conifers, and I saw this video by this gentleman, European, and I've noticed that the European bow makers are more into testing conifers, like the compression pine and the Sammy bows that I discussed before. And so I want to bring the idea of conifers, besides yew and juniper, back to this area of the world. So I went out and, using this thing, hacked off a branch from a Norway spruce. Ironic, Norway spruce, Europe. Before I even start talking about my bow, this is my rant on chopping and cutting tools. A machete, very redundant. By having those sawtooths up there, you risk the problem of cutting yourself, which is a big issue in a survival situation, when you're using this as a scraping tool. I don't see the point in having a saw blade on the end of a chopping tool. I also despise double bevels. All my cutting and chopping tools that I use regularly, I reground them so it's flat on one side, on this side because I'm right-handed and I work this way, and have all the bevel on the opposite side so you can hit stuff at a shallower angle, which gives you more control, and it's less likely to bounce off. It digs in, you don't have to hit it very hard with a single bevel. Very much improved over the double bevel for woodworking. Both can chop down trees, both can help you in the zombie apocalypse, but as far as woodworking, double bevels, in my estimation, are weak. Draw knives are single bevels. Ulus are double bevels. My wonder tool, my hatchet, is a single bevel. Enough of that. So what I created in 5 minutes of work was probably the most highly developed bow I have ever made in my career as a bow maker. Look at that. It's just a stick. And I chopped it down a little bit just to lighten the tips. Now please don't regard this particular stick, this is just a jumping off point for your own research, as that be-all and end-all of bows. But this was a branch growing its entire life, every second of its life, under pressure. Snow loads, big birds landing on the end. the weight of a long branch, constantly strengthening this, just like if you're a weightlifter. You're developing the musculature from all your training. So on the top of the branch, totally under tension all the time. Bottom of the branch, always under compression. So right off the bat, we have a material that appears to be a great bow making material. We're usually chasing rectangular cross sections, but I got to thinking last night, round, whatever, along that top strip, the narrow strip, where it's going to receive the most abuse from the tension load, that's going to be probably the strongest, and conversely on the bottom. The only reason I flattened this out was just to get a little bit more bend and lighten the tips. And so I've got this mighty device. I'm going to actually shoot over some turkeys that are wandering around the parking lot. And I pull it back, and I get 50 pounds out of this little beast. It's short, which means it's going to stack. So you could certainly make it longer, but the theory of this video is materials, material choices, not the shape of this particular bow or the length of this bow. Probably 48 inches, I don't know. And so, I have marked out, and you're going to be in awe of the tiller of this fine little beast, 80 yards. A little more than 80 yards. It went beyond my mark and went into shredded bark pile. Again, number 2. Whoa, beyond 80 yards. Now, you could certainly shoot it through a chronograph. You could certainly measure the amount of foot-pounds of force on an object, but in my experience, and I have bow hunted with a variety of bows, I had a 40-pound bow that poked a self bow that poked all the way through a deer, and the 2-point Zwickey Eskimo was on the outside of the deer. I have really demonstrated that, like, to myself, that if a bow can shoot 80 yards, it has enough oomph at 10 or 15 yards to penetrate. I wouldn't shoot a deer with this, but as far as like bunnies and squirrels and the other little creatures, birds roaming around, this would be a serviceable weapon. It took me 5 minutes to make, out of a Norway spruce branch, and pulled 50 pounds, was able to shoot those hunting weight arrows over 80 yards. It's a viable weapon. Okay, listening public, measure the worth of a survival weapon or a survival tool based upon the amount of time and effort and energy and calories you put into producing it versus the serviceability and the durability of the weapon. I'm not stringing this so there's any tension under it, so I could just leave this strong. I'm not wasting any energy, because basically 100% of the energy, because it's not under stress now, of my arm that I'm putting into this in my back is going into the arrows. That's another thing. Get away from this high brace height with a weapon that's not like fully tillered and green. You want to have a low brace height and very little stress in the device, you know, when it's not being used, so I could just leave this strong forever. Again, this is not a be-all and end-all survival weapon. It is a jumping off point for your research into this type of device. I could certainly like recurve it, but there's no need. If it's stiffer, I could deflex the limbs a little bit to give myself a longer draw length and still maintain this low stress attitude while it's just strong and sitting around waiting. But thank you for watching, and I want to just open people's horizons to other options. When I was a kid and making lots of kites, I always said if it doesn't fly right side up, it flies upside down. And that has like served me well in a lot of situations, including this. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.